Spoilers! Okay, as always, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this. The spoiler is I got LASIK, because I knew that was going to be a distracting shirt through this. That's why I wore it. No, I'm going to be talking about the series finale of Bojack Horseman. Again, usually I don't talk about finales much or anything unless I have something I feel like is a little different I can add. And the response from this finale seems to be kind of mixed a little bit. I don't know too many that hate it, but I don't know too many that love it. I really love it. This is actually one of my new favorite shows now. I think this is just a brilliant show from beginning to end. If I had to nitpick, I'd say, man, it'd be cool if this last season was maybe 2 seasons, because a lot does happen. But I mean, they still handle it great. They still do it great, and it's funny, and it's heartbreaking, and it's just, there's so much truth to it. And I really want to talk about the ending, the very last episode, in particular. Because when I saw it, I had a theory of what was going on. And then I watched it again, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that, but it kind of opened my eyes even more to why I really like this finale so much. My theory, I'll tell you real quick, which I don't think is true, but I'll just say it real fast. My initial thought is that the last episode, because it begins with Bojack and Diane staring up, it begins with the last shot of the episode, and you see the little his heartbeat going, and I thought they were hinting that Bojack could be dead, because the whole episode prior was about him sort of being in between life and death and crossing over into, the great beyond and stuff. So I kind of thought maybe this was like either his afterlife or his purgatory, or maybe part of a dream again, or maybe what he saw right before he died. But watching it again, there's a lot of things in there, details about characters that he wouldn't know. So you could make a very loose argument that, well, it could still be like an afterlife kind of thing. Like it just, allowed him to say goodbye to a lot of these people and stuff, like that they just somehow, whatever this is, gave him the information. But it's like, it's unlikely. I guess you can technically make a theory out of that, but it'd be a very complicated theory. What I get more out of it, because even when I saw it, I said, well, even if that's not the case, that's one interpretation. Another could be how much this is very much just the ending of, a big chapter in a person's life, pretty much. Or even several chapters, maybe even the start of like a different book, sort of, because I kept going over and over in my head, why start off with the final shot? And why have the little heartbeat above? Because that was I just remember that sticking out. I'm like, man, why does it start with them looking up? And I wonder if that's going to be, I even thought maybe that's going to be the final shot. Maybe it's going to mean something. So I thought it'd mean like he was dying. And on a physical level, no. But then the more I was thinking about it, it's like there is kind of like this, it's kind of really this death of this part in his life, kind of hopefully in a strange way. That's really why I like this finale. I thought it was very bittersweet. So the whole episode, as you know, if you've seen it, you must see it if you're watching this, is him pretty much in one way or another saying goodbye to different people. Granted, he's going to go back to prison afterwards, but he's going to be let out in a few months. And there's this opportunity for him to restart his life, which has happened quite a bit. Even in this last season, he had the opportunity, he took it, and he was actually doing okay, and then he got too greedy with it once again, like he self-sabotaged himself, which he's very good at doing. So now he has this opportunity, and it's like people are ready for a comeback, but people also kind of don't forget, especially like the people close to him, so they all... It's interesting because it's like they all kind of get better too. Everyone seemingly gets better, and they realize the best way to move on is to create this distance, to really never see the person again. If they do, maybe once in a while to get together kind of thing, but it's like, no, we can't. Like, we're really different people now, and what I think, especially with Diane talking at the end, she says, like, you've helped me grow into a different person, and I'm thankful. But that different person can't have anything to do with you. That person is going to destroy herself if she's, around you anymore, pretty much. And he seems to understand that. But that kind of leaves him like, well, will he get better? And to me, very much the episode... with that intro, why does it go back to that intro, is that it's the best comparison I can think of is like to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless mind. It has a similar ending. I guess I won't give away the ending if you haven't seen it. But there is kind of a repeat element to it, where even though, yes, this is kind of one thing finishing, it could happen again. Or it could be just this part is dead and another part is beginning. So I really like this episode because of that, because it's not... So many good shows have had bad finales. I mean, you know which ones I'm talking about. And I think it's one of those things where I think part of why... Now, I was going to say a lot of them tried to be very solid and this is what happened, but that's not true. Some of them try to be vague and they don't always turn out that good. But with the way the show worked, I thought what it delivered was uncertain and gave kind of possibilities what it could be and what could happen. And I feel like you fill in the blanks whether or not you're optimistic about this person or you're pessimistic about this person, because neither is really wrong. We've seen him start to get better and sort of sabotage himself over and over, or even sometimes the environment sabotages him, but it's also... The environment is partly because of him, and the environment also kind of created him. So it's going back and forth, and they're feeding into each other, and it's one of the reasons this show is so good. So I think it's one of those things where you can kind of see it, and you can say, man, this guy, like, every time he tries to get better, something does actually improve, it seems. Like, it's... Every time he tries to, go to rehab, or he tries to apologize or something like that, something does improve, but he's never entirely fixed. And he probably never will be, and none of them ever will be. So I like the fact that it leaves on this ending where you're not really sure. The one thing you're pretty certain of is that he's never going to see a lot of these people again, and it's probably a good thing. But at the same time, each of them has... they of course have, regret doing certain things with him and having him take advantage of them and so forth, and sometimes they take advantage of him. But it's not ultimately looked at as a bad thing. Like, they grew as well. They grew with him. Sometimes even from him. Like, his mistakes actually help them grow as people. And they've grown enough where they can kind of appreciate that. All except maybe Mr. Peanutbutter. He's just in his own little world. But what I like, too, is that you see... the people that he says goodbye to are kind of his support group, and each one sort of has a different element. Diane was kind of like that reality, trying to bring him back to reality and what's really going on. Carolyn was very much, his job element. Mr. Peanutbutter was just the constant support, always gave him compliments, could never look bad in his eyes. And... I'm blanking on his name, the roommate. He was kind of the person he was looking after. He was the person that, he felt good giving back to someone, even if he was kind of a bum for a while. But even he kind of, grows over the series. So now, like, all these elements of his support group they relied on for so long are gone. But it's not 100% a sad thing. There's a sense where they don't need him anymore. It's kind of left open, does he need them anymore? And it's looking like probably not. So I really like that, even though it's left open, anything could happen, there's still, in my opinion, kind of this optimistic look that there is hope for him, that he can make a comeback, that he's in prison, he even says, technically I'm going to prison for this, but I really think it's for everything I've done, so there's this sense of serving time, and he does legit want to get better, so I really respect that, but at the same time, like, opening with that shot of them looking up and seeing the heartbeat, and ultimately flatlining, whether you want to take that as, nope, there's no hope for him, he's always going to doom himself, or this is just the death of this time in his life, this group of people, and now it's a new chapter is starting, that he can really start fresh, like he just has to turn that page, you know what I mean? He actually has to make that step and be better. So I really, really like this finale. And honestly, the character I kind of was surprised I got the most into this season was Diane, because Diane, I like all the characters in this show, I don't dislike anyone, but Diane definitely seemed like, kind of like Mr. Peanutbutter, like, oh, okay, I know what she's about very quickly, even through her peaks and valleys. And she was interesting, but you kind of get it. The last season, I thought she became really interesting. I was so fascinated by what she was going through, where usually, it was either Bojack or Carolyn and stuff. But like that last season, I really got interested in Diane. Maybe because she's in Chicago and I'm in Chicago. I don't know. I just felt like everything came to, for me anyway, just a really nice conclusion. And it didn't quite feel fan fiction-y. If it was fan fiction-y, it'd be like Harry Potter, where just everything ends happy. It's like, oh well, here it all goes again, or whatever, haha. And it's like, no, there is this sense of like, you don't know if everything's gonna be okay. That possibility is it, but you don't know. And everyone always says I hate Harry Potter. I don't, by the way. It's just a very easy franchise to make fun of, but I really don't dislike it or anything. I just don't get into it. But I remember people saying that about the ending of Harry Potter. They were saying, oh, that felt very fan fiction-y, for something that got heavier and heavier as it went along. And this one really didn't. If it ended on a note that, everything's gonna be all right, and they kind of smile to each other, and they go their separate ways, like, all right, this is good, then maybe it would have. But they're just staring off, into the unknown. They have no idea what's going to happen, and there's that heartbeat going at the beginning. And, is this the end, or is it in a constant loop? Is it always going to be happening over and over, or is it going to be happening over and over, but in a different way, maybe with different people? So I really, really enjoyed it, and I thought there was a lot you could kind of read into it. I thought they gave you enough elements that you look at and you say, okay, well, I know that, but what... They give you enough answers to form your own questions, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. It allows you to fill in the blanks yourself. They don't spoon feed everything to you. I guess that's what I really like about it. But with that said, they do give you just enough little doses in there that, you can actually fill in everything that can be very meaningful and can be very strong. So, I love this show. I thought it ended on a really great note. I like that it wasn't such a big, grand thing. If anything, that the previous episode was kind of like that. I mean, that was just so intense. And I like that this was a little more middle of the road, and it wasn't going to give you the easy answer. Because that's what I was wondering watching, and I'm like, well, is this, they going to give him a happy ending or a sad ending? Man, I don't know. And it was a perfect middle of the road, and you kind of have to decide. So I really, really dug it. So, like I said, this is one of my new favorite shows. I mean, just one of my favorites I've seen in years. I think it's so good, and I really thought it ended on a strong note. So what do you guys think? Did you like the finale? Did you think that it really worked on a lot of levels, or did you find it underwhelming? Mostly I got from people that they either thought it was okay or they thought it was underwhelming, but I kind of like downplaying it, but I don't know. Maybe people were really pissed off by it, or they really loved it. I'm not sure. So definitely leave your thoughts about it. And again, you don't have to worry about spoilers because this whole thing is a spoiler. So say whatever you want about the show. Don't ruin whatever other franchises or something. So guys, thanks so much, and I will see you next time. Take care.